I found out in the comics that Hulk like lives forever and becomes like the saddest thing ever.
I think he becomes the end of the universe.
Oh.
So yeah, it's sad. But
one of the things
he becomes
the
something.
maestro.
Yeah, I was going to say
scary.
he becomes the maestro at one point.
Hey, they're saying that Thor might reach his ultimate potential in this new movie.
I'll believe what I said.
He's gonna be Thor. Yeah,
He's Thor.
Thor in the movie.
Thor. They also said his daughter's gonna die and he's gonna get vengeance.
Like his actual daughter?
No, the daughter that he adopted.
I know, that's his actual daughter.
Yeah.
Not Thor's actual daughter, but Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter.
Yes.
That'd be sad. That would be like way sad, considering the whole point of her being alive is that she was granted back her life from immortality, only to be killed off again.
Yep. By one Tony Stark, who's now Doctor Doom.
Oh. I want to know how they're going to spin that.
Well, they also said that Doctor Doom's going to wreck the multiverse, and so Loki, the god of time, is going to have to come out of his holding everything together, and he's going to be the hero in this.
I thought the whole point was that Loki couldn't come out.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
His name's on one of the chairs, Danny.
Oh, was it?
I don't know. I think it was.
Do you know what?
I don't know if I finished that.
Do you know what? I think
finish
the
Loki?
Watcher should be the hero. Because he just watches.
He is. He's a good watcher.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a lot of watching.
A lot of watching.
Doing some good old-fashioned watching.
Watching you. Take food.
That's some nice singing.
Thank you. I'm here all night.
William?
No.
No. Because I'm going home after this.
Nice.
I'm going to get ready for a camp out.
I have to get ready to go on a trip.
Oh, yeah. I heard that you're going somewhere. Wait, let's get started and then you can tell us about your trip.
Okay.
Every single detail.
Every detail?
Every detail.
Okay.
Welcome to the Twaddling Along podcast, everyone. I am your host, Dan McBride, here with my brothers and co-hosts, Jake.
I'm drawing.
And Josh.
I'm watching.
And me. I'm not doing anything.
I was going to say, what are you doing?
I'm lounging.
Lounging.
Does that count?
Nice.
I do love a good lounge. All right, Josh, go into it. What are you doing for your vacation?
I am getting up in my car probably around 9:47.
Okay.
I'm going to press the start button on my wife's car.
Keyless.
It is keyless.
Excellent.
And then I'm going to put it in reverse.
Okay.
Change the mirrors because my wife's been driving and she...
Probably have to pull the seat back a little bit.
Yeah, and down. She has a booster seat.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
cute.
She doesn't. I'm going to reverse the vehicle and turn the wheel like this.
Counterclockwise.
Yeah. No, clockwise.
If you go clockwise, your vehicle is going to be pointing
Left.
north.
Yeah.
That's the way that you're going?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to drive very slowly because there'll probably be some kids on some scooters.
Which is important.
And then I'm going to turn clockwise again.
Okay. So we're taking a right.
Taking a right. We're going to drive a little bit, probably almost hit the truck that's always parked in front of the garages. And then I'm going to take a left.
Another left.
To get onto the main road.
Okay. And from there, where are you going?
From the main road, I'm taking a right.
No. Let's speed this up slightly.
I'm going to go pick up my wife from work.
Okay.
Then hop on the freeway.
Right.
And drive north for like 5.5 hours.
Oh.
Just kidding. 4 hours.
5.5.
Where are you going? You're going to Yellowstone, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like 5.5 hours.
I know. I'm going to Rexburg. We're staying in Rexburg.
Why?
Because...
Why? Why?
Because I didn't want to spend $12,000 for 2 nights.
That's a good point.
Well,
so we're staying in Rexburg, and my wife's like, I wonder what we could do. And I said, we are not leaving our hotel room.
The Bear World. You guys need to go to Bear World. It's a hoot. big old fat bears. Well over. I mean, they're so you can go and if they've got them, you can go and hold a baby bear.
I want to do that.
That would be really exciting.
That'd be awesome. I might do that.
You should go do that.
Okay.
It's 100% what
But
you
after
should do.
Rexburg on Friday, I'm going to go and, or on Saturday, I'm going to Old Faithful.
I want to go. So I have been to Yellowstone
Didn't see Old Faithful.
and was trying to find parking while everybody else was trying to get into Old Faithful. They saw Old Faithful. By the time I came in, didn't get to see Old Faithful.
That's why we're going to go really, really, really early in the morning.
Old Faithful is super busy all the time.
We're going at 6 in the morning.
Wow. So like you're waking up at like 4 to get there.
No, we're waking up at 5.
You might want to check. I don't know if the park opens or the gates open that early.
I think it opens at like 7.
I was going to say.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to do that and then drive around and see some grizzlies. And then I'm going to try to be one of those tourists who go and try to poke a bison.
Done. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All the while, Kylie's going to record the whole thing.
The whole thing. And
She's
we'll
going to
upload
have
it.
the bear spray in the front seat, accidentally spray me. And then, yeah, I'll be on the news. So stay tuned.
What made you guys decide to go to Yellowstone? Just
Well, the options that we had were Las Vegas,
okay.
which would have been fun, except for it's going to be like
1.5 billion degrees.
correct. St. George, same reason. And then Yellowstone.
What about Glenwood Springs?
What the heck is Glenwood Springs?
That's the hot springs that's in Colorado that has that gigantic cave.
Why would I go to Colorado?
Why would you not go to Colorado?
They're a bunch of weed smokers.
Oh, okay.
It's those people that smoke, Danny.
Oh, well, just the entire state?
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have any of that here.
never.
Walk around my neighborhood at nighttime and get a contact eye.
I lived in a country that is just a contact
It's
eye.
just all contact eye.
For any of you who's wondering, it wasn't Canada. For my Canadian friends,
It was America.
it was America.
It was just all of America.
According to my friend, Canada doesn't exist, so it's true.
What does he think is up there?
Nothing.
Just vast emptiness?
Hmm. He thinks it's just an extension of Maine.
Oh, I
That's
see.
a big Maine.
That's what he said.
Well, he's incorrect.
Oh.
And it makes me sad for him.
Yeah, he's
That he
missing out.
lived in such a bubble that he believes Canada doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And yet he probably believes Finland is a real place.
Finland.
No, I don't think Finland's a real place.
The only reason I think Finland's real is because I like Finnish saunas.
The only reason that I think Finland is real is genetically I'm part Finnish.
Oh,
So unless I'm part Imagine.
you're a Finn? Isn't that what they call themselves?
Finns? Oh.
I don't know either.
I thought they called themselves Vikings.
They're very laid back people. Actually, I heard that it's kind of like most Norwegian people get a little grumpy when you say stuff like that. Well, you're a Viking. They're like, ugh, no.
But then their soccer team.
What accent was that again?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
It's the Norwegian accent.
I see.
It's my Finnish accent.
But yet, if you watch their soccer, their literal like chant is they have a guy with huge freaking drums, and when he hits the drum, everyone rows and says "hoo," and then he goes faster and faster. So it's like "hoo, hoo, hoo," and they're all rowing a boat like they're Vikings,
Oh, well, good for
like
them.
Viking slaves,
Oh, not so good for them.
right? Why do they celebrate that?
I don't know.
Anyway,
That's not what we're talking about this week.
no, we're not.
As a matter of fact, we're not talking about anything to do with Finland, really.
I didn't do much research on this person's ancestry, but I don't think he is.
I think that his father was just pretty much English.
Well, I mean, he was a British citizen, technically.
Can you repeat that one more time, Josh?
He was a British citizen.
There you go.
Technically, he started the 7 Years' War.
I know, we're going to talk about that.
Excellent.
Jeez, ruin the moment.
Sorry.
Everyone, it is, when this podcast comes out, it'll be 2-3 weeks to the 250th anniversary of the colonies of the British Empire seceding.
I think it's a week and a half.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's not even that. Oh, it is.
But it's pretty close, and so we can't say that it's the 200th anniversary of the United States of America because it's not.
Okay. Why?
Because the Declaration of Independence only had the colonies secede. They weren't united yet.
I see.
But we don't talk about that, Bruno. But with that being said, we are going to talk about a very, very famous person in American history. And I hope you like him, because I do.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, good.
Not as much as my favorite president, James Madison.
What do you like about James Madison?
It's just the best.
It's like, I like Garfield. Garfield was my favorite.
Oh, he's assassinated. Anyway.
Well, now I feel bad.
Geez, Danny, why'd you bring up Garfield?
I don't know. He hates Mondays. Oh, that's the wrong Garfield.
He could have.
Wasn't there an internet thing where they did replace Garfield the cat with Garfield the president? I'm going to look it up while you start your thing.
Probably.
Sorry, Josh.
Anyway, we're going to be talking about the father of the frickin' nation. No, not God, because America's a Christian land, or at least was at one point. It's
Josh. Where are we going with this, Josh?
we're talking about George freaking Washington.
Oh, good.
So glad to hear that.
I'm glad.
Hey, I had to be so serious last podcast. We're gonna not be as.
Well, there's a difference between seriousness and filtered.
I don't have a filter. I'm not a coffee.
You were hitting things really well, Josh.
You're doing great, Josh.
Thank you.
I mean,
What do you guys know about George?
well,
Wrong.
okay.
Oh,
I actually have a bunch of. I decided to go down the strange hole of George Washington.
Okay, wait.
Meaning, excuse me, that there's a lot of like hidden characteristics that George Washington had. So I'm just going to intercede every once in a while you do the serious things.
Because we're going to talk about some interesting facts about our dear friend George. Not King George III. He was a tyrant. But George Washington.
Though he had a good singing voice.
Who, King George III? Yeah, when he was in his mental episodes.
Right.
Anyway, George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732 at Pope's Creek, Virginia.
And where is Pope's Creek, Virginia, Josh?
No idea. Didn't look it up. Somewhere in Virginia.
Virginia Company.
Okay. We're going to get freaking
copyrighted
for just that. Anyway, but he was the fifth of 10 children. His 4 older siblings were only half siblings. His father had married a woman, and she had died.
Sad. But very common.
Very common. And then he married this other lady, and George was the first one out of them. But yeah, his dad was Augustine Washington. He owned several tobacco plantations. He was a justice of the peace in the county that they resided at in Virginia. He is also part of the Virginia militia. Fun fact.
Those are fun facts.
Yep. Mary Johnson Ball was his mother, Mary Johnson Ball Washington. She was an orphan by the age of 12. Her dad died when she was 3 years old, and her mom died when she was 12. And so she was raised by a family friend named George Eskridge.
Not as fun fact.
But with that fact, that is why George Washington got his name. Was because she respected her adopted father, George Eskridge, so much. The end.
That's nice.
George.
She lived all the way till 1789.
Yep, she did. And George Washington did not like her.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, not a big fan.
No. So George Washington technically grew up as a commoner. Now, if you ask yourself, wait a second, pause. A man with thousands and thousands of acres was just a commoner. let me explain. A commoner in colonial British society was just someone who was not of royal blood, so they didn't hold a title or anything like that. However, he was a Virginian elite. So in the colonial sense, he was actually one of the wealthiest families in the colonies.
I feel lied to. History Channel said that he didn't come from a rich family.
Oh no, they were pretty rich.
I think the thing was that by the time old Georgie was growing up, they didn't have a lot of money. They lost a lot of their fortune.
They did lose a lot of their fortune because of deaths. His father passed away quite early.
1743.
Yep, so he was only 11 years old. And then his other brothers and half-siblings split up a lot of the property and stuff that was his dad's.
And because he was the firstborn of the second wife, he did not actually have any claim to any of the land.
His oldest half-brother, Lawrence Washington, who was 14 years... I'm so sorry. His senior.
14 years.
14 years older. Almost like Danny and I.
Oh.
Cute.
I'm Lawrence.
He...
A jerk.
Was...
Take all the money and run away with it.
I know.
Actually, him and George were very close.
Yep, he became a father figure to George.
Yeah, he was very, very close.
In fact, Lawrence Washington served as a commissioned officer in the British Navy, and that is why George Washington went into the military. Was because of that.
He was in Cartagena.
Mm-hmm.
Cartagena.
So
he is also the one who established Mount Vernon.
Yes, but it wasn't called Mount Vernon.
No.
Until Lawrence.
Nope.
Mount Vernon. Vernon was the captain of the ship that he served on.
The admiral.
Yep, the admiral.
It was Admiral Edward Vernon,
mm-hmm.
and he is quite the character himself. He engaged in something called the War of Jenkins' Ear, which is kind of a funny name for a not so funny battle.
Yeah,
a pretty awful thing.
The British lost, by the way.
He also was addressed by Admiral Hosier's ghost.
Hoser. Anyway, that's not George Washington.
We got way off topic. Sorry about that.
So, as mentioned, George's father died when he was 49. George was 11. Lawrence became his father figure. And his mother became very cold and distant. And they had more or less a professional relationship, but they did not get along. She was a authoritarian.
And even more so, like, cold to the point of, like, in some writing, so George Washington himself was incredibly cold.
Oh, of course.
He would like he wouldn't touch people physically. Like, they wouldn't even shake hands. There's a story of let's see if I can find it, of someone daring someone else to pat George on the back. Let's see if I can find it. Anyways, to pat George on the back. And like they did it, and George Washington like completely wrote him off for the rest of his life. That's how like little he wanted to be touched and everything. And they say it's directly from his mother that he was not coddled in the least bit.
Nope.
And that his mother saw him as, till the day that she died, an unimportant artifact of a lost cause.
Yes, in some...
Good heavens to Betsy.
And this is what's really sad, is at 11, when his father passed away, he was looking forward to go and get educated like his older brothers.
In England.
In England.
A very nice education.
And receive the higher education of learning Greek, Latin, and all those stuff. Well, his mom vetoed the whole ordeal because she saw him as a good work hand out with the slaves in the tobacco fields. So he was numbered amongst the slaves, and he never forgave his mom that he was just numbered with the slaves.
Yep. She really was kind of a not very nice lady. Like, the more I read into her, I was like, oh no. Oh no. So the story was Alexander Hamilton bet Gouverneur Morris at a dinner that Morris wouldn't dare slap Washington on the back. Morris did. Washington gave him a look so cold and so arctic as stone that Morris later said that he wouldn't ever do it again and might not ever look at the man in his eyes.
Yeah, Georgie. What a guy.
Yeah, he was highly formal.
Yes.
Highly formal.
Well, and as we'll learn just through his early childhood, he was a British gentleman.
Or wanted to be.
Wanted to be.
Very much, yeah.
But then, things happened. So because he couldn't go to England to receive his formal education, he was mainly self-taught. He didn't go to school here in the colonies. He received basic math, arithmetic, but self-taught himself economics and finance. He read books galore and enjoyed physical activities and actually ended up teaching himself how to ride a horse properly, which ended up aiding him in his military career later on. A lot of the founding fathers related that he was educationally backwards compared to the rest of the founding fathers because he did not have any formal education, where the rest of them were, university graduates with, top honors.
Well, what's crazy is that, here's this young man who is growing up poor but surrounded by extreme wealth. Because Lawrence's older brother married into the Fairfax family. And the Fairfax family were like the richest people probably in the colonies at that time. Yeah,
the Fairfax, in fact, he became a surveyor in not too long when we talk about it. But his sister-in-law's, I think it was uncle, is the Fairfax, and he was a royal part of the royal family.
Yes.
And so all of that land belonged to him. So it was very wealthy.
Very wealthy. And he grew up in that. He pretty much adopted himself into the family. And for all intents and purposes, they treated him very, very kindly.
Yeah.
Like they were very good. But Thomas Fairfax was the Lord of Cameron.
Yep.
And had lots and lots and lots of money.
Yep. So as said, George wanted to enlist in the British Royal Navy as Lawrence did, but his mother said no as well. Said, not going. And so he became a surveyor for any of those who are listening, whatever. For those who are listening who don't know what a surveyor is, it's someone who goes and basically maps out an area, reviews the geography of the land, creates maps, also maps out different plots of land. And so the Fairfax family, not only did they adopt him, they hired him to be able to divvy up their land into sections for plantations. And so he did that, and because he did that, he traveled around Virginia and some of the colonies nearby and really learned the landscape and memorized the landscape of the areas around, which greatly helped him later on when he, had to fight the British Army.
He did, yep.
So
taught him true grit.
Yep. So, all right.
Movie.
It is a good movie.
His brother ended up dying, which is so sad. Lawrence.
He did.
He's dead.
You know the whole story.
No, he has like fever or something.
So Lawrence got tuberculosis. And the only time George Washington left the United States in his entire life was he went with Lawrence down to Barbados because they thought that the warm air would help his tuberculosis. At that time, that's kind of the thought process of everything is, the warmth and the wet will help, not realizing one of the worst things that you could do is introduce someone with tuberculosis to humidity. Anyways, so they went down there. Lawrence died. George Washington got smallpox, a really severe case of smallpox. Darn well almost dies. However, because he survived smallpox, smallpox is kind of like the chicken pox in that you get like a lifelong immunity. His lifelong immunity allowed him during the Revolutionary War to be around soldiers with smallpox and still have command and presence where a lot of the other generals didn't, which is kind of what helped his prestige raise, is because he was around these people that had smallpox, and people saw him as a strong and confident leader, many probably not realizing that he was immune.
Yep. So because of the death of his brother, George ended up inheriting Mount Vernon as an inheritance. Lawrence had one daughter, but she chose to take another piece of land of Lawrence's, and George was left with Mount Vernon. Because he was out of a job, because of the family was falling apart because of Lawrence's death, he joined the military and served as a major in the British Army, but was not given a royal appointment.
Wasn't he really young when he became a major?
Yeah, he was only 20. Let's see.
He was 20. He got his first military commission when he was 20 years old.
So imagine a 20-year-old leading an army.
Well, and to explain, back then, like, military commission was a little bit different. There was no merit base.
No.
You bought your commission.
Yeah.
So if you had enough money, you could buy yourself a high-ranking commission, which is kind of, at least from my understanding, very similar to the other thing. Sorry.
The other thing. Huh?
The other thing. It's very similar to the British system, which is that he probably bought into it. There's no record of it from what I could find out, but there you go.
Yep. But his first appointment was to be an ambassador for the Ohio Company, which was settlers trying to settle a little bit further west than what the colonies did at the time. And he was an ambassador for the British against the French and native populations who had laid claim for the land and had actually set up forts and stuff in this area that the British wanted. And so he went to try to say, hey, get out of here. And they refused. But in the meantime, he wrote a journal and kept very detailed notes and like numbers that actually was used to send to the King of England, who ended up declaring war on France later on because of the notes that George Washington had taken.
Well, it became a bestseller too because of the fact that it talked about his crazy adventure, because he almost died a few times on the way back. Yep. I mean, he fell into a frozen, I can't remember if it was a river or a lake. Mm-hmm. His Native American guide turned on him at one point and tried killing him. And so there was just kind of quite a few things. But they don't talk about the fact that he was very, for someone his age, I mean, he was 6'3". He was really tall. Big guy. But he was very confident at that point. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that they gave him a letter to take to the French, like it was a suicide mission. It was here you go. And so they were looking for someone to, do it. And he was cocky enough to be like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So changed him though.
So, he, in 1754, he surrounded a French force and he thought that he can outdo him. Like Jake said, he was a little bit cocky. And he ended up killing a lot of the French people. But it kind of left him with a lackluster reputation in Great Britain for being absolutely ruthless, because he just outright started killing French people. But because of this certain event where he ended up killing, I think it was around 100 Frenchmen or something like that, it led to the 7 Years' War, which some scholars actually believe was the first World War, believe it or not, because it didn't just involve the fighting here on the North American continent. There was European fighting, there was African fighting, there was fighting in Asia, there was fighting everywhere throughout the world because of this event. So it was kind of the first World War, but we don't consider it that. So the French Indian War, or the 7 Years' War, the small battle that George got into, even though he killed a bunch of French people, resulted in a third of his company being killed, and he had to surrender after all. They let him go, and he went back to Mount Vernon, defeated, but a hero in the eyes of the colonists.
He resigned because they told him they were going to demote him.
Yep. And he thought his military career was over. But like I said, the war had started, so good King George sent over forces to the American continent.
Good King George.
When I say good King George, he was nuts by this point. Had sent over a military. He was re-enlisted as an advisor for the reinforcements that had come because he knew the land and he knew kind of the area and he kind of wanted revenge. Our dear friend George Washington. But as Jake said earlier, he almost died again. His forces were wiped out. The commanding officer of the reinforcements that came from Great Britain were also wiped out, was also killed, and George was made the commanding officer for the Virginia militia. However, because of his not so good reputation, they didn't give him a royal charter again, so he wasn't being paid as well as some of the others, which made George really, really mad. And some historians believe that this was the start of his radical movement away from Britain to one day lead a revolution, which I think is interesting.
See, he kind of... he worked his way back into the military through the battle that he took over for. It was one of those that like he was, again, he had because of his last previous experience, like he was described as being confident. And so like whenever they were surrounded and they were getting killed, and the general he was under got mortally wounded. And so all the other officers were freaking out. And all of a sudden, here's George Washington giving commands, and so they, like, definitely gave it over. But it was also the start of suddenly George Washington being even more of a hero in the eyes of a lot of people and gaining a lot of respect from his men. Now, he was cold.
He was cold. He was hard.
And he was ruthless. Yeah. I mean, like, if you deserted, you died.
Yeah.
Like
you were killed.
Yeah, bottom line, like, he wasn't necessarily just someone that was just a confident, soldier. He went all out to make sure that people understood what their role was.
He didn't take no for an answer a lot of the times. So much so that the fort that he had lost at the very beginning where he had to surrender the first time, which was called Fort Duquesne, he went and took back. Now, fun fact, Fort Duquesne was renamed Fort Pitt, and Fort Pitt,
huh?
became the foundation of the city of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is that why it's called Pittsburgh?
It is.
I never knew.
So he basically laid the foundation of Pittsburgh among the bodies of Frenchmen. Anyway, just after he returned home, he went back to Mount Vernon, and he ended up marrying a very, very, very wealthy widow, Martha Custis.
Oh, she was a widow?
She was a widow.
I learned something new.
She had 2 kids of her own. And so he reinvested his wealth into his plantation and also started his own tobacco plantation and built a pretty good business out of it. Well,
he retired when he was like 27.
Yeah, he was very young.
Which is kind of crazy. It's like, because you picture him as being in the military the whole time, but...
No. He was also elected in the Virginia House of Burgess. So he retired from the military but went into politics. And because of his reputation as a hero, he was listened to as a politician, even though he didn't know politics really at all. at that point in time. So post 7 Years' War, this is where Washington more and more was pushed towards revolution. If you guys have learned anything about the 7 Years' War or the French Indian Wars, you learn that Britain came out conqueror and took a lot of the French lands throughout the entire world, creating one of the biggest empire that's ever lived. However, because of that, they were big time in debt. They had lost a lot of money, put a lot of money in, and Great Britain was on the verge of becoming a bankrupt country because of its debts. Because of this, they ended up taxing their colonies.
I never knew.
And the people, as you are very much aware, were not happy. Washington actually largely remained committed to staying attached to the British Empire because a lot of his wealth was tied in with Great Britain. So he was actually with Great Britain at first, but it slowly went downhill. In the Virginia House of Burgess, he actually tried a diplomatic solution to the lack of representation and ended up getting a lot of headway in the process. He actually got a lot of the taxes canceled and removed, except for one.
The tax on the tea.
The tax on the tea.
The tea tax.
He thought he'd be able to continue working his diplomatic way to be able to work with King George and work out a thing. Well, there's some people up north. He was in Virginia, remember? And these people in Boston by the name of Samuel Adams and, John Adams, crazies. They were known as the Sons of Liberty. They ended up antagonizing British and throwing a bunch of very valuable cargo into the Bay of Massachusetts, or the Boston Bay. Hence the
dressed
Boston,
as Native Americans.
Dressed as Native Americans.
I want to know how convinced the British were that there was actually
right,
because it seems like one of the most random things that have happened in a village. That is just kind of towards the sea.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kind of interesting the way that people are like, we're going to make it look like someone else did it. And like, of all the things for them to do,
it'd be like, let's go into a very populated place
to a ship
and then throw tea off the. Why didn't they steal the tea? It doesn't make sense. Washington was pissed. He was really mad at the Sons of Liberty because they basically started a revolution. All the while George Washington was trying to diplomatically solve this issue. But the British made a mistake. They ended up enacting a policy. I can't remember what it was called. But basically, it was like a death threat and a death warrant to any of those who had participated in the Boston Tea Party. And George Washington was like, whoa. Okay, they threw tea out in the thing. You shouldn't kill all these people just because they did that. And he realized that Great Britain didn't care about them at all. So he went radical. Very quickly.
He joined the hippie movement. Is that what it is?
Yes, he did.
This was the hippie movement of the time?
Yep. So just after that, there were some little battles here and there that started the Revolutionary War, and people were looking for a commander-in-chief to lead the Continental Army. And George Washington was like, I'm not. I'm a lot more mature. He was in his 40s, I think, by this point. He was like, I'm a lot more mature. I am not going to go around and say I need to be commander-in-chief. I'm not going to do it. But then he showed up in Continental Congress in full army vestments. And like Jake said earlier, he was 6'3", taller than any person.
Towered over everyone.
Literally, I think the next closest was Jefferson, and he was 6 feet. But everyone else was probably 5'7" or below. And so he was a monster of a man, and everyone was just so blown away by his persona that they made him commander-in-chief.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was John Adams pretty much said, like, his presence, because of he towered over everyone, made them want him to be kind of the leader. Head.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I mean, it's one of those, you have a mascot. You have a very powerful mascot that, can strike fear into people. And he was a tall man.
Tall man. He was a redhead, but he was probably wearing a wig by now. As well as he had lost a lot of his teeth by this point because of his smallpox and different things. And so he probably looked grumpy as a kid.
I say, never smiled, never. Yeah. I wonder sometimes, because, I mean, in his youth, we didn't talk about this, in his youth, he used to make some very colorful jokes. Oh. And then over time, he slowly tried striking those out of his records to kind of remove.
it was funny on one of the comments that I read when he was retelling the story of him going in full military vestments and saying he was a lot more mature. He's like, if I was as young as I was when I first became major, I would have gone and plastered my face on every wall saying, vote for me.
It would be the Uncle Sam I want you poster, except
exactly.
with him.
Except for it would have been George Washington, do it or die, kind of thing.
I want to know, what is that? What is Uncle Sam based off of? Was there a person that looked like
Uncle Sam, I think, came way later, didn't he?
He did come way later, but I'm curious. Who is he? He's a personification of the U.S. government. That's good. The name traces back to the War of 1812, so a little bit after George Washington.
Not too long after.
Legend has it that Samuel Wilson, a meat packer from Troy, New York, supplied barrels of beef to the U.S. Army. He stamped these barrels with U.S. to stand for the United States. However, soldiers and workers began joking that the U.S. stood for Uncle Sam, referring to Wilson.
Oh, wow. There you go. War of 1812.
And then later on, they gave him, later on, the Uncle Sam became a thing when a cartoonist by the name of Thomas Nast gave Uncle Sam a white beard and stars and stripes.
Oh.
So, and then it became even more widespread once World War I started. So there you go. Little side tangent.
Yep. So post George Washington, but not too long after. I mean, about 12 years after his death, which I think is interesting.
Did he die in 1800? I thought he died in 1780 or 90.
1799.
9? Oh. Spoilers. Sorry, everyone.
Yep.
He's passed away.
He's dead.
Yeah. I know this might have come as a shock to some of you, but...
All right. So we're going to jump in just briefly to the Revolutionary War, because a lot of people study the Revolutionary War. They know what happened. We win. Woohoo, United States.
Spoilers.
What they don't tell you is that George Washington was actually a horrible military general.
For the first part of it, he there was some mistakes and there was some questioning of his leadership.
He was trying to... From everything that I've read, and if you're a military history person, he was ahead of his time in the sense that he was doing guerrilla warfare when guerrilla warfare wasn't a thing. So he was very much like, the shock and awe, go and shoot everybody and then leave. But the British Army was line up, shoot everybody and keep marching and chase them off. And so by doing this, shoot and run, George Washington lost a lot of ground very, very early on. He lost the capital. He
didn't quite understand the guerrilla warfare scenario.
So he lost New York. He lost Philadelphia. He lost Boston. He lost pretty much everything. But then he had a great idea.
Wait, we have to stop here. We need to welcome Danny back.
Welcome, Danny.
To the Twaddling Along podcast. I know it became quiet for a moment from his side.
I was trying really hard to depart without making any kind of noise or anything.
You tried really hard and made a lot of noise in doing so.
Yeah, well.
And then you pointed your mic towards me, so it was two.
Josh sounded a little more boastful.
I'd like to point out that I edited this podcast. I could have made it sound smooth as butter.
But to catch you up, Danny, we're in Revolutionary Warrior.
Oh!
We're just saying how horrible George Washington was as a commander.
No. Josh is saying how horrible he is.
At the beginning, he lost a lot of ground. But like I said, it came to a point where he was like, you know what? We need to do something completely radical. And that's cross a frickin' river in Christmas Day in the middle of the worst snowstorm ever.
The Potomac.
We did decide that he joined the hippie movement. Josh keeps
Danny,
using radical.
Not the Potomac. He crossed the Delaware.
The Delaware River. You were correct.
The Potomac
I
River.
apologize.
So he crossed the Delaware River on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then he attacked a bunch of drunk Germans that were contracted by the British.
AKA they were mercenaries.
Yeah.
Contracted drunk people on the other side.
But in all honesty, that was what Washington's plan was the whole time, to catch them off guard because they had been drinking on Christmas Day. He didn't show up until the day after, so they weren't drunk, but he still caught him off guard enough to have a great military victory that gave a lot of morale to his troops, because a lot of them were going to be leaving him in a week, and they weren't going to come back. But it changed the tide of war, at least for a little bit.
It did for a little bit. He also became a figurehead after that point.
Yes, he did.
And that was a really important thing. Up to that point, he was seen as a okay general, and then the Continental Congress was actually kind of in the process of deciding if he was going to continue to be the general.
And this is why. So once upon a time, George Washington, the New York and Philadelphia were kind of the main center of the colonies, where the Congress was and everything. And George Washington was like, everyone, we're going to go to the cliffs of Manhattan and we're going to stay there. Well, the British just surrounded him. And the only way that he was able to escape was a thick fog came in, and he was able to get himself on boats and all the military and leave. But they said if he hadn't, the entire Continental Army would have just been massacred on the spot. So he was kind of
There's a lot of people that look at that and go, Providence definitely played its part, and that's where we get a lot of the
manifest destiny.
Yeah, type of stuff that goes on.
So after Trenton and that area, it went well for a little bit, but then it kind of turned sour again. And the winters kicked in really, really, really cold. And he ended up just north of Pennsylvania in a place called Valley Forge.
How cold did it get, Josh?
I don't know.
Let's look it up. How cold
was Valley Forge?
Was Valley Forge cold?
Is that what it said?
Really, really cold.
It was minus 30 degrees. Now, Joshua,
that's not bad.
You have lived in minus 30 degrees. Explain what it's like to be in minus 30 degrees.
I was in shorts and a t-shirt. Easy. No, I'm just kidding. Minus 30 degrees is actually around the point where your skin begins to frostbite in a matter of minutes.
What did you have to wear to go outside?
I was not allowed to go outside.
You weren't. But did you?
Of course I did. And what I wore thermal underwear, and then I wore clothes, and then I wore a layer of thicker clothes on top of that, and then I wore snow pants, a coat over that coat. I wore a scarf, and then a beanie, and then a beanie on that beanie, and then a blanket around everything, and I was still cold.
And this is what pride does to a man when he wants to go and prove that he can go out there. How many pairs of gloves did you have to wear?
Oh, I had 3.
Yeah, 3 pairs of gloves.
And the thing is I had just a little bit of skin showing beneath my glasses and above my scarf, and it started I was only out for maybe 5 minutes, and it started to frostbite the top of my cheeks. And so it's really cold. So imagine George Washington with a bunch of his people freezing their butts off. And all of a sudden, this French guy shows up named Lafayette.
Well, a French guy and a really
German.
Pissed off German named Frederick Wilhelm von Steuben.
That is like the most perfect German. Say it one more time for
Frederick Wilhelm von Steuben.
I love that.
And do you know who Mr. Steuben did? He was so pissed off.
Wait. Go back. Ask that question again in a different way.
Do you know what Mr. Steuben did for George Washington?
What did he do?
He first said, George Washington, don't leave your tent for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to rake your men against the coals.
And he did. He literally was, they called him like the quartermaster of hell.
Yeah.
Because he just drilled those people. However,
they became a true military force.
True disciplined fighting force.
So, and that's something I didn't point out. So George Washington is known as a bad military leader at the beginning of the Revolution, but you have to take into account the resources he had. He had a bunch of farm boys.
He had nothing.
He had a bunch of farm boys and very little artillery. But his artillery guy, Henry Knox, where the gold bank is.
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox, that's what it's named after. Ended up learning artillery stuff and became incredible military. And Lafayette came in with military experience and also was an advisor to George Washington. And so with this Valley Forge, even though it was a pain in the butt and it was colder than heck, it kind of changed everything. Because after Valley Forge, America kicked some British butt.
They did much better.
Yeah.
The other thing that really helped was that we entered into the French Treaty of Alliance, which helped.
We talked about that in one of our previous podcasts with our dear friend Benjamin Franklin, who was the main person for that French alliance. And because of that French alliance, a lot of the British military people had to leave the colonies and go to the East Indies to protect their British prospects there from the French.
Yeah, because the French were just like, hey, we're going to take advantage.
Yep.
Oh, no, wait. They did this. We are going to take advantage.
They sounded more hillbilly.
Now
we're going to go take advantage.
We're going to go.
Wait, I have to make a correction. So I said it was minus 30 degrees. I misread this. That was the historical normal temperature. The main reason they were having issues is it was fluctuating between 6 and 16 degrees. So it would freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw again.
Oh, so
and they didn't have like any of the winter equipment.
No,
they didn't have like winter coats or things like that.
Yeah, they had to push their artillery through huge snowbanks. Can you imagine that?
Do you guys want to know what I've recently been interested in getting?
Artillery.
Yeah, artillery. No, as we are planning on going to the beach here in the next few weeks.
Are you getting I don't know.
I have looked, and there is electric carts that you
for beaches.
Yeah, well, not beaches, just in general. They have a battery that helps propel the wheels, and you can just kind of take that and then take it with you, and it just kind of goes around. I've also seen ones that are a little bit more expensive, so I probably won't buy them, where you can actually sit on it and ride the cart.
Jake won't even go to or he'll start going to the beach then.
And then you're just going to see me ripping around doing other things on this cart.
That's awesome. I bet George Washington would have liked those.
I'm pretty sure they would have. If they had battery packs that would allow them to self-propel those artilleries in the snow,
I think the British would have run.
There you go. I helped you get back.
There you go. So yeah, after Valley Forge, they kicked some butt. The British kept sending reinforcements. And the French military that was helping the Americans were completely decimating these British. So much so that they cornered them in a place called Yorktown.
Mm-hmm.
And they laid some siege. Mm-hmm. George Washington wasn't actually anywhere nearby.
No.
He ran as fast as he could and got down there. And then he said, "Oh, you're doing a siege? I have no idea how to do sieges. You guys go ahead." And so they laid siege, and finally the British surrendered.
Yep, March of 1782.
And it actually wasn't an official surrender. It was a surrender of that military. The treaty didn't come until later, where Benjamin Franklin, once again, helped.
2 years later, Benjamin Franklin and...
Thomas.
Nope.
No.
Hold on. John Adams.
John Adams helped pen the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the American Revolution.
But Washington immediately resigned.
He did.
He resigned his position.
Done.
He was finished and over with. The only significant thing he did afterward that probably saved the United States is he also dropped down the Nuremberg conspiracy, which is where a bunch of the officers of the army, because they hadn't been paid, were thinking about literally like
coup d'etat or coup
d'etat.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, trying to take over the government because it didn't. So he calmed them down, but then he was just like, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to plant some wheat. I'm going to make copious amounts of alcohol.
And tobacco.
Copious amount. No,
he stopped tobacco.
He stopped tobacco, yeah. Copious amounts of alcohol, though. He made lots and lots of whiskey.
I also forgot to mention that during the this Revolutionary War, he thought it would be a good idea to make the colonies united under some sort of cause. So he informed Congress to create the Articles of Confederation so that he could have a national military instead of just units from different small nations per se. And so that really helped boost the confidence that he had. But yeah, he retired. He was really interested in I think he was Greek or Roman general that could have become dictator way, way earlier than Julius Caesar, but retired. And so he wanted to follow that example. And he really did. He went back to his farm, started farming. Got
super into interior decorating.
Oh, interior decorating.
No, he didn't get into debt. He was wealthy beyond compare. What he did is he actually designed several different systems that were kind of unique at the time that allowed him to thrush wheat very, very quickly. And so he just made all the money.
This is also around the time, and this is, of course, a lot of people are very critical, and for good reason. He did have many a slave at this point in time, but his ideas of slavery continued to change to the point that he was actually against slavery, but realized that the the economic damage that would be done to the American society, it would literally destroy the nation if he had done anything at the time.
Yep.
So he actually treated his slaves better than most others by the end.
But he's still a slave owner.
Yes, he still owned slaves.
And near the end of his life, and a lot of his writings, I think he kind of realized how bad it was, but he didn't make the final adjustment.
No.
He did free his slaves after his death, or at least petitioned to have them freed. Whether they all got freed or not, I've never actually found out the real answer. But we have to recognize that he was not a perfect man. I think, if anything, we've pointed out that he had a whole lot of flaws.
Yeah, he did.
Lots and lots of flaws.
So after the Revolutionary War, he retired and lived happily ever after. The end.
Until
they approached him and said, "Hey, George, the Articles of Confederation are crap. And we need to create a whole new government, and we'd like to kind of have you lead it." So his buddies, James Madison, who was also in the House of Burgess, he went back to politics.
Yes.
James Madison and Thomas Jefferson was the governor of Virginia, invited George Washington to go with them to the Continental Congress, which they did, and the Constitution was created and demanded that there would be a president. And everyone said, George? And he said, "Oh, okay, I'll do it." So he won by a landslide because no one ran against him.
Nope.
The only time in history that has ever happened.
Yep.
And then he had a little man for his vice president.
One John Adams.
Who actually did jack squat as a vice president, but did everything as the president of the Senate.
Well, and for probably a good reason, John Adams had some, his Federalist views were very, very different than a lot of the Continental Congress. And even though George Washington himself was probably more on the Federalist side, George Washington was smart enough to realize, hey, we're going to kind of keep this about as moderate as possible. John Adams, not so much. John Adams was all about federalism.
Yes.
Strong government, where the others wanted strong states.
Yep.
And this is where I want to kind of pivot, because George Washington as a president, as I've researched more and more about George Washington, he kind of was the perfect first president. Yeah, he made mistakes, but he remained neutral when it came to a lot of decisions. He allowed his advisors to advise him and give him ideas, and then, he'd be the final say, but it was never like, okay, it's this way, we're not going to even compromise at all.
Mm-hmm.
He brought in some of the arch nemesis of all time, Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, who hated each other forever and ever.
Madison.
Madison.
No, Thomas Jefferson and Adams. John Adams hated each other.
Well, yeah, hated each other, but Alexander Hamilton
hated everybody.
But he brought him in, all his advisors.
And he was a very, very talented Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Was he from Puerto Rico? I didn't think he was Puerto Rico.
In Hamilton, the play was.
Oh. But but he...
I think, I'm going to get in trouble. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is Puerto Rican, but now I'm going to...
You should probably double check that.
I thought it was Barbados. I thought he was from Barbados. But anyway, so he surrounded himself with people who had very different ideas from one another, but he was able to create a system where he could kind of be the mediator with all these ideas. As Danny said, he ended up leaning more towards the Federalist outlook, but he really hated the idea that there would be a party system. Now, with that being said, he was a Virginian and tried to do everything he could to make sure that Virginia stayed as much as they could the way it was, so he could be wealthy. But he started making decisions toward the Federalist way, which was against what Virginia wanted. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of his dear friends, like James Madison or Thomas Jefferson, ended up going against Washington towards the end of his presidency.
Yeah, and that's actually... So there's a lot of mysticism that's around George Washington. One of them is that the two that he was like, after 2 terms I am done, because that is the right thing to do. The actual reality is he didn't have a problem with going longer, but he felt personally attacked by some of the things were going on, and he wanted to have a contested presidential run, meaning he wanted people to be able to run up against each other. So still for good reasons, but it just so happened that he set a precedent when that happened and kind of continued.
Let's be honest, after the last 2 times he retired from something, he's like, can I just be done, please?
And here's what's really says. His presidency was pretty much, setting up a country is really hard. And he had to do a lot of things. He had a crazy Secretary of Treasury who wanted to, set up a few things that may not have worked. He had a crazy Secretary of State who wanted France. Then he had a vice president who said, no, we need to go English.
Good old John Jay.
What?
John Jay. That's the Secretary of State that you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about Thomas Jefferson, but that's okay.
Oh.
TJ.
But John Jay was there too. And so there was a lot of opposition, but he kind of controlled everything. And then he retired from his presidency and was hoping that he could just go back to Mount Vernon and just
do some more interior decorating.
And just be done.
It's true. He loved to be. He was like a huge interior decorator.
But
everyone also super into fashion.
Yes, he was the first president to wear makeup.
Super into fashion.
Because he was the first president.
He also he decked out his entire staff in custom made what they called livery, but custom made costumes at the time that were up to his specifications. And he would fire tailors if they weren't good enough. He went through 30 some odd tailors because he wanted one that would did him justice. So he had a couple quirks.
Here's another really fun fact. There's a lot of portraits of George Washington. And if you notice, he always has a strong jawline.
He did not have a strong jawline.
He didn't have a strong jawline because he had no teeth. He actually had a receded jawline that gave him double and or triple chin that he wouldn't allow people to actually paint.
Also, he was really good at dancing.
Yeah, he was a dancer.
Good dancer.
With his wife, who was a perfect first lady.
She was very nice.
She was the exact opposite of his mother, a lot more warm, and so he felt a lot more comfortable. With that being said, he never had children.
Nope.
He adopted her 2 kids, I believe.
Probably because he had
smallpox.
Yep.
He became sterile.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so he wanted to retire. He said, I'm done. I'm finished. I set up a country. I killed the greatest empire in the world. I'm awesome. Goes back home. Everyone keeps writing him letters. He's like, this stupid piece of crap. And
Josh is reading this from his journal, by the way.
I was going to say, dear journal, stupid piece of crap, Thomas Jefferson. Sincerely yours, George Washington.
All of a sudden, he got a little sick. And this was, about 3 years, 2-3 years after his presidency. He's had some time just to recover. He's like, okay. But he starts getting a little sick. So he calls in his physicians. And back in the day, the medicine of yesteryear was not bueno.
Leeches.
They wanted to...
Worse than leeches. They just straight up bled him.
Yeah, they wanted to balance the... what's it called? Balance the...
The humors.
Humors.
Balance the humors.
And there's 4 different humors, and blood is one of them, and they're like, you have too much blood. So they bled him. They bled him.
A long time.
And bled him.
40% of his blood, they think.
And so much so that he ended up dying. Some scholars, most medical scholars...
Didn't he get pneumonia?
Yeah, he had a total, curable disease. Something that could have easily gotten over. But because he was bled, he died. All medical or most medical people say that it was a result of his treatment that caused him to die, not necessarily the illness itself.
There's some people, some people think it was literally just strep.
Yeah.
Other people do think it was something a little bit more serious, like epilogitis or whatever it's called. Nobody really knows because they bled him so much, he had tissue destruction before anybody could actually figure it out.
So he died before the beginning of the 1800s.
1799.
1799. And
wasn't he in his 70s, though? He was older.
He was in his 60s.
Was he 60s?
Yep, he was 67.
Old, please. I'll let you know.
1832, I think, is when he was...
48. Just kidding. That was his brother.
Oh. Where's my phone? I can tell you right now.
Josh forgot.
67.
He was 67.
He was 67. So not super old, but he had lived a life that was...
What was the life expectancy back then?
Probably 67.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
let's look up.
He ended up passing away, and the whole American nation was in mourning because he was such a popular and courageous hero.
Radical. He was a radical.
Life expectancy was only 35 to 40 years old, so he did pretty stinking good.
He was an old guy.
Good.
The typical age of death was much closer to, for an adult who survived in their 20s, typical age of death was 60 to 70.
So he lived a good long time. But here are just some fun facts.
Okay.
Did you know that he was very much in favor of having the capital of our nation in Virginia?
I wonder why.
Because he lived there.
And it kind of is.
And so what he did was he put it 10 miles up the road from his house.
And that's true. Yep.
Here's another reason why he did that. Because he wanted Alexander Hamilton's economic plan to go through. And they said, Thomas Jefferson said no. And then he brought him into a room and he said, okay, Alexander and Thomas, you need to come up with a compromise. And so the compromise was the city capital or the nation's capital be in Virginia, where Thomas Jefferson was from, if they stop harassing Alexander Hamilton and his family.
Oh, poor Alex. And then Alexander Hamilton was like, I'm going to shoot someone.
He was angry.
And then missed.
And then... Did he miss or did his gun not go off?
I can't remember one of the two.
If you listen to the musical, supposedly he was trying to shoot in the air, signalizing that the gentleman's agreement that they didn't want to kill each other.
Whatever.
But Aaron Burr shot him, and he ended up getting infection and died.
Poor Hamilton.
Here's another thing. The cherry tree.
Completely made up. There was no cherry tree.
There was no cherry tree. Here's another thing that's made up. Wood teeth.
Wood teeth?
Wood teeth was made up. We don't want to talk about his teeth, and we won't talk about his teeth.
Well, you said something about his wood teeth earlier, Joshua.
He had such bad teeth that more than likely he was taking a lot of laudanum.
So he was drugged.
That would be opium.
Yeah. He was drugged.
He also liked ice cream.
He did.
He actually he bought a special ice cream making equipment and had a whole ice house that was built just specifically so he could have ice cream.
Here's another fun fact. Robert E. Lee, general in the Civil War, George Washington's grandson. Great-grandson.
Josh, he didn't have any children.
No, but his adopted
I don't think that's true, Josh.
It is.
I don't think so.
It is.
Wait, I missed out. What are we talking about?
George Washington and Robert E. Lee being related. Related to King George. No, that's...
Ooh, wouldn't that be quite
Robert E. Lee and George Washington were not blood related.
Oh, Robert E. Lee married his step-great-granddaughter. I apologize.
Oh, Josh.
Sprouting falsehoods here.
I'm going to...
Yep.
Gonna put that on the internet so people yell at you.
Okay.
Hey, there's George Washington for you. Good old George.
Good old George. He wanted to rest. He wanted to decorate.
He wanted to decorate. He wanted to eat ice cream. He raised dogs.
Yep.
He wanted to do all those things, and instead we bled him to death.
As we seem to do a lot.
We do a lot.
It's really funny because literally what he did was he took these short people who had a lot of ego, and he put them in a room together and said, "Don't come out until you've, made a decision." And that's what he did. That's how he created a nation.
There you go. Washington. Now he's on a $1 bill.
And a quarter.
I was in Washington, D.C. just barely. I saw his official portrait, the one that was painted in 1803. That's like kind of the really famous one. It is very beautiful.
And it was saved.
How big is it?
Not very big. I think I've actually got a picture.
Dolly Madison, who was James Madison's wife, saved that portrait during the burning of the Capitol.
You are correct.
So she had to be able to carry it out.
And I don't think it was very big. Now the Napoleon one is gigantic. That we have in the Washington, D.C. It's huge.
Napoleon's?
Yeah. It's like way, way big. Little fun fact. All right, final thoughts before we ruin everything. Josh.
Oh, okay. George Washington. I'm grateful for George Washington. The reason I'm grateful for George Washington is he friggin' started this nation.
I'm grateful. My final words, because I'm cutting you off because we're over time.
Oh.
How much are we over time?
About 15 minutes.
Are we really?
Dang.
We're just making up for last week.
I am grateful that George Washington didn't decide to just stick with the British. Because that was well within his wheelhouse. As a matter of fact, his mom was still considered a loyalist. Did we talk about how terrible his mother was afterward? Here's my final fact. Be careful. Because you look too much into Washington's family and you realize that he was raised by a narcissist. So beware of that. Okay, Jake, your final words.
I'm Jake.
Yay! Hey, we're back. Next week, it's me. I'm doing the paranormal. We're going to do something American associated. Something patriotic. Some patriotic
Once again,
paranormal.
Some patriotic.
Happy 250th anniversary of our succession from the British Empire.
Take that, England. You and your socialized medicine.
King George and your mental illness.
Your King Charles.
Are you guys looking at me to do something?
No, we're just trying to come up with more insults.
Do you need me to,
in
closing, just yell out like the Scots did?
Okay, go ahead.
Freedom!